There as, like we say, Seniors Group D versus E will be the next one out there on the circuit. Engines fire up. Drivers making their way out onto the circuit. Let's take you through that full starting lineup. Marco Gast on pole position will be joined by Lev Krutulov, Nicolo Kaman and Jindra Peschel. Also on row number 2, both Krutulov and Peschel have got fresh tyres on board. Row number 3, Martinez and Oscar Gallin, both of them with fresh tyres, with Endo Arata and Boris Lyson also with fresh tyres. Row number 5, Kato Fairhan and Luis Francis, but only Fairhan with a fresh set. Row 6 sees Leo Nilsson and Emily Koivisto, also fresh set of tyres on board. Sadamat Zorin and Edith Kaczynski on row 7, also fresh tyres. Kasper Reipold and Mateusz van der Kerkhoff, fresh tyres on board. Row 9 though, Inya Rustad and David Trefilov, no fresh tyres for those two drivers.
On row number 10, Zach Green and Qijun Zhao, followed on row number 11 by Clovis Nogueirain and Aaron Garcia. Row number 12, we'll see Jerry Besica and Radek Vavra. Row number 13, down at the grid, Zariev Rekal and Jason Ralic. New tyres for Clovis and Zach Green. On row number 14, we'll have Amin Karakosman and Marcus Kunas. Row number 15, Lilian Scarborough and Erikas Klebikas. Zariev and Jason new tyres put for this race. And then row number 16, Wojciech Sekielski, Alexander Dahlström, Matthias Gonzalez and Austin Gale. None of them at the back end of the grid deciding to go for a new Matthias Van.
That is why I think he's got out. I think he's going to try and help his mechanic. Again, I'm not too sure. I'm only speculating. But he can effectively have a start on this one. He'll just be at the back. Right, grid forming itself up. Pace is nice and slow. Marco Gast and Lev Krutulov on the front row of this grid. Already Van der Kerkhoff out of contention on the middle of that. He's going to be struggling from that pit lane if he can get it started. Here we go then into the tram lines. Lights are out. We are racing. Good start for the inside row. Marco Gast holds on to the lead of this one going in towards turn number 1. Lev Krutulov seemingly not on the pace there. Going in towards the start of that race. Some driver getting kicked up in the background. One of the MP racing machines going a bit sideways. That might be Emilio Koivisto, who's gone wide, but he is back in the race, albeit down a few places. Eyes on the front runners here, though. It is a good getaway. There is still Mateusz van der Kerkhoff. He has not got it started. He is out of the race. Is that a change for the lead? I think it is. There's drama in the background. That is disastrous. Jacopo Martinez out of this race, and this is how it's happened. Oh dear, is that a seize of the engine? I think it is a mechanical failure, and that is disastrous. It is the Koski that leads the way though. Forza Racing's Nicolo Kaman slotting there into second place. Make that potentially first. He's done it through turns 1 and 2. Beautifully done.
And a little bit of a push from behind, but what a beautiful move that was. I think that Marco Gast wasn't too happy about this. But again, if you don't give up and keep pushing, that's how you get paid. And Nicolo Kaman just proved to us that despite turn 1, well, chicane proved enough. Now he finds himself in the lead. And you can see outside of your picture, but Mateusz van der Kerkhoff coming back to the Parc Fermé as well. Unfortunately for the Belgian, a little bit of a curb clipping there for one of the CRDs, or could it be, Clovis Nogueirain potentially in pit 15. And as you can see, qualifying classification evolving at every race. Still in okay. Thibaut Ramaker is your current leader from Kostoya, and Daniel Kelleher has it's P4.
It is Krutulov now who's second in the intermediate classification.
Indeed,
yes, here is that overtake again. Down the inside, initially not having it there. Then got some nice distance in towards turn 2. Beautifully done. It just unsettles the driver to think, okay, I can't go for the normal turning point. They're there. It unsettles them onto the outside. Through on the inside. Can get back on the racing line. Nicely done. It is a nice move that through turns 1 and into the chicane of turn 2. High risk. Sometimes, though, high reward. Mikhail Osman, fastest lap of the race. Currently circulating in 21st place as we continue to watch this incredible fight from what my timing screen says is first all the way down to 32nd place, which is the entire grid.
Certainly, that's giving you about how much tight is the racing here in Champions of the Future, as Kaman Gast and Kutuholov at the wheel of that energy machine around the inside of the chicane, and once again that opens the door, and Afina Gast went for the grass. Oh, that's quite unfortunate, but there was nowhere else. Side by side, certainly the hardest spot to try and overtake, as in the meantime, change for the lead. Krutoholov is getting ahead of Nikola Kuman. So not only Krutoholov went ahead of Marco Gast in the tightest of passage into the chicane, forcing, certainly not with intention, but forcing Marco Gast out onto the grass. And then he went on to take Nikola Kuman for the lead. That's certainly one of the moments of the day. But the energy driver up into P1, that might have surprised not only Marsh, but also Nikola Kuman, dropping 2 places, finds himself now in P4, under the pressure of Nielsen just behind, with Boris Leinzen. And in the meantime as well, Arata Endo were there for the taking and took 2nd and 3rd respectively. But what a moment that was.
It was indeed, and very late into the corner there, as there's been some drama. There is indeed.
That's Lewis
out
Francis.
is Lewis Francis. He runs to safety, out of the racing line of the path of the rest. But what happened there? Was it...
I've seen water flowing.
Right, okay. Was there mechanical failure for Lewis Francis? And yeah, we've seen quite a few of them now at this stage of the weekend. These carts have been used, and bit of smoke, a bit of fluid out the front, and I think that is an engine seizing at the worst possible moment. A big puff of smoke out the exhaust there, wasn't it? And I think that was engines just gone, no. Seemingly that mechanic, Marshall, hadn't noticed that incident happening right behind it, but I suspect it was very noisy there and he couldn't hear. But at that moment there, very scary for Lewis Francis, but thankfully he is okay. Ooh, looking down at the kart, Lev Krutelov over the crest there, nearly driving off the circuit. What is that? Now he was looking down at the engine there. Is he thinking he's got an issue there, or is he still in control of his machinery? Well, Boris Leinzen is certainly in control of his, and he's closing in right now. Fastest lap of the race on that last lap for the driver from Poland, and he is closing in considerably now on the leader at the front. It is Lev Krutelov who now leads the intermediate classification, 7 points ahead of Thibaut Ramekers. However, Ramekers could score a total of 250 points if he wins his next race. So that's quite a bit of work he's still got to do there for Lev Krutelov. And we'll have to see what happens as we go on to lap number 7. And still, Krutelov in control. Leinzen, though, on the attack.
Lap number 7 out of 13. Kara Finran, the fastest on your race, as Leinzen is not leaving Krutelov alone just for one moment. Split by 2/10 of a second under the close watch of Edo, down in 3rd. A little bit of a gap, 8/10 of a second in Nielsen. Leon Nielsen, 297, is down in 4th place, followed by Nikola Kuman, Pezel, Firan, Galan, Marst, Kaczynski, your top 10. And Sklevis, and another coming together between two drivers outside of turn number 10 and the 255 onto the grass.
Zhao Zijun is the driver there on the banking, and I think I may have seen
there was another one involved.
Sara Matsui of Japan also in and around that area. And I think David Trefilov was also there. He's tumbled down a couple of positions, but is still in this race. The same as Sara Matsui. She's tumbled down to 28th place now on the track. So, yeah, clearly a coming together there between the driver from China and Japan. But we'll have to see what's unfolded there. But that's a kart that's quite far up the banking there. Yeah. This might tell us a bit of a story. Zhao Zijun down the inside of Trefilov. And unfortunately, Sara Matsui, a complete passenger in all of that. And that was a bold move there for Zhao Zijun, who did go for some moves earlier on at turn number 1, and they paid off, but didn't quite work out there at turn 10.
Yeah, and he's trying to go over the cliff. Maybe not the most practical at the wheel of kart, but that's DNF for him, unfortunately. And for David Trefilov, that's another racing turning into disaster for the very fast and highly talented KZ driver for IPK. Used to be driving Maranello's up until last year with the SRP. The German team changing partners with partnering up this season with IPK, and extending the operation as well in the OK in the junior categories. Remains to be seen for what they will bring next season. Now, there was a good move from one of the DPKs further down into the classification by the look of it. Might have been Aaron Garcia on Austin Gale for P18. Aaron Garcia, that not so long ago did brilliant things, winning one of his first international karting titles. Not so lucky this time around, having to fight quite a lot within the pack here. as we are with the 206. This is Gigi Spezza and Karafiren. This is battle for P5 with Nicolas Coman trying to shake up the order a little bit. He was fighting on the forefront, dropped a couple of places down, and he seems to be stuck a little bit behind those two. Nicolas Coman not quite able to work his way back up, and he won't have much time unless something happens in front of him, and that could lead to an open door between Karafiran and Gigi Spezza, as one of the CRGs for the back, Clovis Nugarade, is being split by Elliot Kaczynski and Kasper Rashbol just behind, I think it is. As we're going to get back to those battles as well. Now, just in front of a position, this is your top three, being chased by Nilsson, Kryholov, Lysen, Edo, split by 0.6 of a second as we get into lap number 11. And still nothing is quite done for Kryholov by the look of it, only 0.4 of a second. That's still the pressure on the shoulders of the energy driver.
Certainly is. Time quickly running out of this race. Lap number 11 of 13 we are on. This is the battle for first place. On your screen, Lev Krutelov, Boris Lysen and Endo Arata. All three of them have done a fabulous job here in controlling this race. They're all trying to push themselves up in the order right now. Obviously, Lev Krutelov has gained the most out of this when he stepped up into the lead of the intermediate classifications, but only by 7 points, and with still 2 more groups to go in the form of groups A and F and B and C to head out onto the circuit. The chances of maintaining that lead in the intermediate classification is, well, not as likely. The downhill fight in towards turn at number 4. No drama there between these top three as they all stay line astern. The train opening up as the sun begins to set here. In Kristianstad, it has been a beautiful day of racing, which is quite surprising, seeing as looking at the forecast over the course of this weekend, it was seemingly looking like it was going to be a torrid weekend with horrible conditions. It was somewhat like that yesterday, a bit chillier. Yeah. There was a bit of rain in the air today. Beautiful day as summer starts to turn into autumn here in Kristianstad, Sweden. But Lev Krutelov in control of this race now. The gap down to 0.3 of a second with the final lap board out here. Guillaume, Lev Krutelov looking clear and dry at the front of this grid.
Final lap it is indeed. 0.4 should be enough for the energy driver, whereas that would be win number 1 for him in that OK senior class since the start of the weekend. At some point, at this point in time, we have 4 wins for Thibaut Ramakers, 3 for Christian Kostoya, 2 for Daniel Kelleher. But that will be the first one, along with Oliver Kinmark and Kenzo Craigie as well as 2 wins as well to his name. So it will be the first one for the energy driver Krutelov. Coming across the checkered flag, and 1 or 2 more laps could have been a different story, but in the end Lev Krutelov was able to hold on to that first place. 0.4 of a second from Boris Lysen, and Arata Edo picking up the best result of his weekend so far, the Japanese driver for World Racing. Well done to him from Karafiran, and Gigi Spezza in 6th position, the biggest mover in this one. 14 places claimed up to the upper echelon of the classification for Toby Gale. He finally classified himself, Toby Gale, down, where is he? P20. P20 for Toby Gale. 13 places gained for Amin Kara Osman up to P14. And as you can see, there's an evolution in the qualifying heat order with Lev Krutelov, thanks to his first win of the weekend, putting himself in the lead with 207 points, 7 points clear from Thibaut Ramakers. So your classification with Lev Krutelov, Boris Lysen, Arata Endo, Leo Nilsson, Katafiran, Gigi Spezza, Nicolas Kuman, Marco Gast, Oscar Galan and Elliot Kaczynski. Your top 10, Zach Green follows in 11 from Kasper Rashbol, Clovis Nugarade, Amin Kara Osman, Sergej Rekal, Jason Bralic, Aaron Garcia, Radek Vavra, Francis Sekelski and Austin Giel P20.